Hello everyone, thank you for listening in. As always, I am Kaylee Bateman, the Content Director at She Can Code, and today I'm lucky enough to be joined by three guests from Adyen to discuss the importance of encouraging future leaders to step into their first leadership roles. Now, Adyen's Incubator Programme is part of the Future Leader track and helps future leaders transition into their first leadership role. So what is the Incubator Programme and why is it so valuable to those who take it? Now, joining me today, I have Hiukwan, Mayke and Divija, all fabulous ladies from Adyen, to discuss the programme with me. Welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having us.
We're going to kick off with some intros to start things off today. Mayke, let's start with you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I'm Mayke Ploeger, is my last name. It's also hard to pronounce, but I've been with Adyen for about 6 years. It's really my first job also. Right now I'm a senior technical program manager, but I started off as an engineer here. And throughout the years, became a tech lead, engineering manager, and now eventually ending up in my latest role, senior technical program manager.
Fabulous, fabulous. Divija?
Yeah, I joined Adyen about a year and a half ago, and transitioned from being a developer to a team lead pretty recently, and it's been going great for me.
Wonderful, wonderful. And Hiukwan, yourself?
Yeah, hi. Thank you for having us. My name is Hiukwan. I'm part of Adyen's engineering team, and I'm responsible for the payments team, working on in-person payments and online payments, amongst others. I'm so excited to be part of Adyen because I really like that we're growing and working with really passionate people who want to learn, who like to drive results, and do that with a lot of creative ideas.
Yeah, fabulous. And we've got so much to talk about today because you run this fabulous incubator program, which I know is so important to use, and also is such an important topic for our ladies as well. A lot of our ladies are first and second jobbers, and I'm sure this conversation will be invaluable for them to hear more about your program. Mayke and Hiukwan, we're gonna start off with, can you tell me what is the incubator program, and can you just tell me a bit about it and how it started?
Yeah, so the incubator program, it's really there to give people the idea what it is to be a team lead. Because a lot of people may want to become a team lead. It's maybe a natural progression in your career. But if you've never been a team lead, you really cannot imagine what it actually means to be that. What kind of responsibilities you get and what it means, how you will feel while having these responsibilities. So the incubator program is really to give a bit of insight into what it means to get this role, and also to understand if this is truly something that you want.
Yeah, so we saw when we're talking to a lot of our engineers, they saw that we were growing in Adyen and that there were so many opportunities in Adyen to do, and they wanted to help to grow, and people were quite excited and they wanted to help out. Now we have staff roles, we have people management roles, and we have engineering roles, and we noticed that people were curious about the team lead role. But we also noticed that some people were very comfortable in their current role, doing really well, and they weren't sure that if they would pick up a new role, if they could also excel in that role. And therefore, we created this training where we show them a bit more about the day-to-day, also about what we expect from a team lead. What do we expect from a team lead when in the good days, but also sometimes it's hard to be a team lead on the rainy days. So what do we expect from those, so that people can make their own decision for their careers?
Yes, and is it true, Hiukwan, that did you create the program? Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. I created the program because we knew we were growing and we needed a lot of future team leads. And I thought about when I became a team lead, it was such a natural progression for me, but I have declined that role multiple times because I was afraid. I didn't know if I could be good in a new role. And once I took the opportunity, I realized it was so much nicer than I could imagine. It gave me a lot of opportunity to learn new skills, explore new ideas. I started to follow a lot of trainings, articles, books. And yeah, I wish I have known earlier how interesting it was. So I could have made this decision earlier.
Yeah, that's the fact that you share as well, that you show the good days and the bad days, because that's what future leaders want to know, don't they? If you get into a job and you think, actually, I didn't know it was going to be like this, you could really be turned off, and you could head for the hills quite fast. But if you're already, if you know, Adyen has showed you what it's going to be like, you can prepare for those hard days as well, as you said.
Yeah, exactly. We try to prepare people to let them know that, hey, once you get the team lead, when you become a team lead, it's just a starting point. You're not there yet. You still need to learn the new skills so you can excel in this role.
And it's really, being a team lead is really quite easy when it's easy.
Yeah.
But when it's hard, that's actually the moments where you think, what am I doing here?
Yes, I suppose as well on paper, isn't it? You see, well, even seeing other team leaders, sometimes you think you might think in your head, I know what my leadership style would be like, but actually you don't until you start, you know, managing real people and experiencing what that is like. And suddenly it's quite a baptism of fire when you realize that people that you know, manage them, and they have opinions, and, you know, they're real people that talk back. So yeah, having any sort of training up front, you know, to try and prepare you for being a good leader, obviously is invaluable. I want to talk a little bit about the programme. Obviously, we spoke a little bit about its importance. But Mayke, what was Adyen like before the Incubator Programme?
Yeah, it's a nice question, because before there was any Incubator Programme, there was really nothing. Just really nothing. When I became a team lead, there was this announcement to the team, which were actually my former peers. Like, Mayke is now team lead, and that was that. I got one training, which was about HR and how you could approve holidays. Well, I didn't need to care about that at all. That was the least of my problems. I could always ask that to anyone, really. But what was so difficult is I always knew I wanted to be a team lead, actually. I loved strategy. I loved thinking about people. But once you actually are in that position, I felt I needed to have the answer to everything immediately. Like, anyone would come up with a question to me, and I would be like, oh, I need to answer this now. And that brought so much stress to that first couple of months as a team lead, that it would just have really, really helped if someone had said to me, hey, it's okay. It's something new. You need to learn. You're going to get across all these situations that you've never come across before. And yeah, you might just not know. And here's some other people that you can talk to and raise questions from. But I really had this feeling that I needed to get this right instantly. I am a team lead now. I am responsible.
It's so funny that you say that, because I had exactly the same. When I became a team lead, I thought I had to give everybody all the answers. Yeah. And I realized it's actually not what people want. They want you to listen to them and ask questions and so show empathy.
Yeah.
You don't really have to solve everything.
Yes, yeah. I suppose as well, we talk about it a lot here with the ladies that we interview, but imposter syndrome can creep in quite easily in those situations as well, because you overthink it. And like yourselves, you know, you're thinking, everybody wants me to have the answer to everything, and I'm going to start doubting myself at this point, and you know, just really not listening to people. So I think sometimes it's just hearing that other people feel exactly the same way that you feel, isn't it? And just being able to have that network where, you know, you say, actually, I felt exactly the same way. It's not unusual the way that you're feeling. Divija, I want to go to you. Can you tell us a little bit about your experience with the programme, because you went through it? So, you know, what did you learn along the way, and how has it supported your career so far?
Yeah, for me, I think the incubator program was absolutely fantastic. I really, really loved it. The content for the program was really well designed, and because the sessions were very interactive, the discussions, and then we had a 2-day workshop where I learned a lot of things. The list is pretty huge, but if I have to pick like a top 2, then I would pick praise and feedback, how to give them in a rather structured format. Because when you're doing this as a first-time team lead, it might be a bit difficult if you're not well prepared, because you might not do well, right? So I think this structured way of doing it helped me. I've also tried this out in my recent days, and it worked out perfectly well. So there you have it, well executed. And then the second would be looking at things from a different perspective, right? Sometimes things might be too good, or things might be too bad, but you always want this confirmation of, am I looking at reality with the same eyes that my peers are also looking at it? So having this discussion with peers, and then, okay, yeah, we are looking at the same reality, that gives you the confidence and also helps you make really good decisions. And I think that's something that I really picked up and I really liked. There are a few other concepts that I really, really liked. Things like the types of leadership skills, or leadership branding, or the DISC behavioral style. That was also very nice. I really enjoyed that. So what all of these concepts did is basically change the mindset of thinking that, you know, as a developer, you don't take any of this into consideration. As a new team lead, you kind of need to step into this shoes and then tune your mindset to think in these angles. And I think this program kind of helped me do that. So that's why I say I really love this program.
Yeah,
So,
I love the fact that you just said there are types of leadership. That before you went in, did you have a certain type in your mind that maybe, you know, you'd experienced from other managers and you thought that's what I have to be, and perhaps didn't realize it's okay to be yourself, or that there are different types of leadership?
Yeah, I've seen leaders with vision, basically visionaries, and then I didn't know if I would be someone like that, but then I also realized that I'm more of a mentoring, coaching kind of. I have that personality, and then when I found out that that is also a style of leadership, I was like, okay, I can be myself as well, being the leader. So yeah, that was definitely something that I picked up.
Yes, I've heard so many times from ladies who, when they started to step up and go into leadership roles, they said that they found themselves becoming quite masculine in the way that they approached it, because that's what they'd seen from other leaders.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Suddenly they got in and they thought, you know what, actually, I need to be myself. And that's the value in being your feminine self and just finding your own style, which you know, I'm assuming something like this program just allows you to find your own style.
Exactly. It just gives you the opportunity to explore the different types, so that you know that if you might resonate with a couple of those such styles, maybe not everything, but then you know that these things at certain percentage will definitely help you, right? You don't need to be 100% in everything. So I think that's something that would definitely help if you understand it better.
Yes, yes. So Divija, based on that then, would you recommend the program to others?
I would definitely recommend the program to others, you know, because it will give you that confidence of, well, as a first time team lead, you always have this, will I do things right, or will I succeed? Do you have so much questions in your head that, okay, I'm moving out of my comfort zone. Will I succeed? Will I fail? So questions like these can be tackled with the help of this incubator program. So if you really want to get into the role of leadership, then this program, you have to, I would say you have to attend it.
Yeah, I suppose I'm a little bit curious as well about the types of people that were on the program. Were they all sort of different stages of careers? I mean, because we talk to a lot of ladies that have taken career transitions, and they might be, you know, they've been in their career 15 years and they've decided to move into tech, and they don't want to be seen as junior. Obviously, they're very experienced at that point, but it's almost like they're in an early tech career. Did you find that there are just, you know, lots of different levels that are there that are sort of looking to move up, or is it, you know, I don't know, are they sort of younger people, or is it quite mixed?
We have different tracks basically. So the track that I was on was mostly for new team leads, like from different domains, right? Like maybe from product or sales or marketing. People were stepping into this new team lead roles. So I would say they definitely have a lot of experience in their bags, but this leadership is something that they wanted to try something new. So we were in this initial fast track where people who are very new to leadership were being trained. So I think we also have different tracks, right?
Yeah. And there were, it was a diverse group of people, because we know we're growing in Adyen. Yeah. We know we need leadership. We know we have tons of people that want it, but a lot of them may not know if this is really what they want, if this is what they want today. Maybe some of them would want it in 2 years. So we set up this program and allowed everybody that had an interest to join, but also evaluate after the program if they want to continue on this track now, later, or decide not to continue.
Yeah. And do you invite people to join, or do you also approach people that you think are going to be good leaders and say, you know, we hear it often, ladies, they hide their light under a bushel, they might not put themselves forward. Do you then approach and say, you know what, I really think you should go for this?
Yeah, definitely. We handpicked a lot of people that we thought you have the skills to do it. Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so it's kind of those that want to put themselves forward can, but it's nice to hear that also you just identify really good talent and can kind of see where they're going. This is to all of you really. What would you say to our listeners who are considering something similar at their own companies? You know, how would they get started?
I would say, you know, if there's not such a program, then you still need to make sure you understand what it actually is. So talk to other leaders and try to find out what challenges they bring to day to day, right? Challenge yourself on why you want this, but also, yeah, check if this is something for you. But don't be afraid that it wouldn't be something for you. Just talk to people.
Yeah, and you can just start. It doesn't have to be super complex. We started with 2 people. We sat down and thought about how to design this program. We came up with 2 training sessions, or 3. And 3 lunches. We decided on the topics, and we just went for it. Yeah, I was mentoring in some of the sessions, others were training, and as we went on, the second iteration was already much better, and the third one was also much better. Yeah, I think we iterated on it.
Yeah, we just knew that we had to do something, and then we just winged it. And
we just did it. Yeah.
So it's just not overthinking it, is it? You know, just start. And as you said, it's kind of progressed into something else. Divija, you mentioned that you ended up, you know, in a 2-day workshop. I'm assuming it didn't start as a 2-day workshop.
I don't think so. Maybe the previous, it was more of sessions. And then I think I was in the 2nd or the 3rd iteration. So I was lucky enough to get the 2-day workshop.
Yeah, and it was so simple, because in the beginning we did sessions indeed, but we also did lunches. I think we still do lunches. But
we do lunches.
Yeah. But what I like about those lunches, so we organize lunches with team leads that are already enrolled and people from the Incubator Programme, and we touched topics about, hey, how do I manage my time when I become a team lead? How much time do you still spend coding and doing team lead stuff? Because we didn't want people to continue coding in the evening and the weekend just because they picked up the new role. And by connecting the incubator talents with the current team leads who already has experienced this, we could really easily talk about this topic and train people at the same time.
Yes. Can you take it more than once, or is it kind of you go through and that's it? Because it sounds like as it's evolving, I'd want to go back and do it again. Wouldn't you, Divija? Think, oh, there's something else in there I can learn now.
If there's something new, I'd love to, but then not go back to this because it's also time consuming, right? Indeed, I also would think about, will I invest that much time again, redoing the 2-day workshop, which is the same content? Maybe not. But if it is something new that has been introduced, yeah, why not?
In general, we have a lot of trainings now also for existing team leads. So this is really the incubator program, but if you're 1 year in the job, again, you get a training and it's a bit more advanced. If you're a couple more years in the job, again, there's a more advanced training. It's really with this intimate group and you share your experiences. Training needs to continue, right, throughout the career.
This continue also with peer-to-peer coaching and mentorship, what we've learned from this program. So we taught people, this is a program, we show you what it means to be a team lead, and it's up to you to decide if you want to be a team lead now, tomorrow, or later. And we found out that some of the people realized that this is not for them.
Yeah.
They wanted to go into the staff track, the technical track. So we're now piloting a new training program for people who have technical ambitions, but no people management ambitions.
And what a great safe place to realize perhaps something isn't for you, instead of moving into that role and then thinking, you know what, I'm going to have to stay here for at least a year or this is going to look dreadful on my CV. But just to try something new, which I think, I don't know about you, but technology as a whole is quite good for that. It's quite flexible for trying new things. If you're within the right company, obviously, and you have a safe environment where you are allowed to fail and try new things, then I think tech is a great industry for that.
But it's not just about failing, because it's really useful for us as a company also to find out early on, before someone actually went into that role, that it's not for them, that they won't like it. Because if you put someone in that position without verifying that, and then they're a year unhappy, and probably their team is unhappy because they have a manager that doesn't like it, that's a problem for the entire company, right? So
yes.
Figuring this out through the program really helps us.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about it the other way around. Yeah, it's just making sure that everybody is prepared and it benefits everybody. Hiukwan and Mayke, what are the key learnings from the program, would you say?
So many learnings. What I've learned is that a lot of topics that we covered in the training were very useful for people that wanted to be a team lead. But I realized that a lot of the skills that we were teaching about giving feedback, for example, that's very useful for anyone.
Yes.
Yeah. And I've also learned that, so I talked to a few people and I explained to them that sometimes, even though I'm responsible for so many teams globally in Adyen, I explained that sometimes I also don't know what to do. And I also need to learn and talk to other people. And people were surprised about that. Because they thought that once you're a team lead, you have it all together.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard that so often, and I think as well, you're absolutely right. And it was touched upon a little bit earlier about, you know, just making sure that leader as well is a good leader, so the team is happy. Because I think there's that expression that people they don't leave jobs, they leave managers, because it is so important. And Hiukwan, as you just mentioned there, giving feedback and knowing how to do it and doing it properly and making sure that, you know, not that you're delicate with somebody, but just that you don't tear that person down when you do it, and that you still get the most out of them. To have some training on that would be so useful. But as you said, there must be so many benefits that have come out of this program, as you were mentioning there. Are there any others that you can think of?
Well, the one we mentioned before, right? That people realize early on whether it is something for them or not. That's important. But
it was also nice to create this peer group, connecting the current team leads with the future team leads. And I found it sometimes was really interesting because we were bringing people together that work in their day-to-day in many different parts of the organization. So we also learn much more about other parts of organizations. And we talked about the Adyen strategy, the Adyen future. So sometimes we went off topic, unplanned, but gained more information beyond your own team scope.
And do they stay in touch afterwards as well, that peer network? Can they still connect afterwards in some kind of way, in some kind of like alumni sort of thing within Adyen?
Oh, do they?
Yep.
Well, I do now know a lot of team leads. So if I have questions, I would go to them and then ask, are you also facing this? But then we don't have like a formal group or set up wherein we kind of discuss things, but we know each other, so we always ping them directly or just call them and then have a coffee with them and then chat things over. So at least that's how it is right now.
Yeah, that's always wonderful to hear, isn't it, within a company that they help you to create those networks, that if you do want to go to somebody and ask something, then that support is there within your own company. Because I think when we talk about networks, we tend to think externally, don't we? We tend to think reaching out to people that might not work at your company, but to have something in-house, obviously, is far more useful. Ladies, we are running out of time, but I wanted to ask you a little bit about working in tech as a whole, and then, you know, obviously moving into leadership roles. What advice would you give yourself starting out? Is there anything that you wish somebody would have told you when you moved into the tech industry and started to move into a leadership role?
Yeah, so I wouldn't really make it very specific to tech, but just any job you'd start, because whenever you start your very first job, this is the very first time that you're surrounded by peers that actually have experience what you don't. Yeah. I mean, during your entire school career, you're always kind of at the same level as people, right? You start learning the same, you get the same tests, etc. But when you start a job, you need to get used to this fact that you are not supposed to be on the same level as all these other people that may have had 10 years of experience. So you don't need to hold yourself accountable to that same level. It's okay that you have to learn. And I think this holds for the first job. It holds for a new role. It's okay that you have to learn. And I think also when I turned into the team lead role, I wasn't that forgiving of myself. I thought I had to know, right? I'm a team lead now, so I need to do as well as that other team lead who's been here for 10 years, and because I am too a team lead. But yeah, it's that experience which you need to learn. So it's okay.
Yeah, I think especially as ladies, we try and be perfectionists as well. And you're right, you kind of get into a role and you beat yourself up that you're not everything that you think people need you to be, especially if you've had a manager that you looked to and as we said throughout this, you haven't found your own leadership style yet. It takes a while to really settle into who you are as a leader, and you're absolutely right, it's not beating yourself up along the way, and that you have to learn that experience as you go. Divija?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what Mayke says, that there's always this feeling of you need to know everything, but then that's definitely, I would definitely give myself that advice. But apart from that, I would also tell myself that looking at the team lead tasks is also equally important. That you invest time in doing those tasks, just like how you invest time in growing as a developer, right? So you do a lot of technical tasks. So also give equal importance to the tasks that will groom you to be a team lead, instead of, thinking that that's low priority. And then because you come from an individual contributor mindset, and then this change or this shift is very much important. And I think all team leads should never think that people management or things are any less important than a technical task. I think that's something that I would give myself.
Sometimes
Yes.
you may forget.
Yeah, you may forget.
And that is also a skill.
Great advice. Yeah, I think sometimes you're absolutely right. I think sometimes people think that they have the technical skills that they need and everything's going to be fine, and then actually, you know, you move into a different role and you just think, oh my word, I was not prepared for this. Or as some of you have said, you know, you go through the incubator program and you might think, actually, that's not for me, and I'd rather stay on the technical side of the fence and do my own thing. So yeah, it's just being able to experience it without obviously losing your job at the same time. Hiukwan, yourself.
Yeah, there are a couple of practical things that I learned. For example, I used to check when I would apply for a job. I used to check on all the other boxes from the vacancy text, and only apply for a job when I think I can meet all of them. And I came to realize when I became a team lead, now I'm writing those vacancy texts. I usually do that in 20 minutes. I don't cover all the guidelines. So I write down a general idea of what I think is required for the role. I cannot write a vacancy text with 100 lines, so I need to shorten it. But sometimes I do put something on it and not. So having that now in mind, now when I think about if people apply for a job, they shouldn't check all the boxes, because the person that drafted that vacancy may have spent a few minutes drafting it and not listed everything. So yeah,
Might not be a perfect match, but if it's even 50%, I would say go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead. We constantly hire people that matches 50%. They turn out to be really great. Yeah. So,
very talented people. You're right. I've heard so many people on this podcast say the same thing, that sometimes men, they will apply for something if, you know, they don't hit all of the job spec, but women, they seem to think, you know what, I'm going to have to hit at least 95% of those things.
That is so true.
You do, and you talk yourself out of the job and you think, you know what, I'm not going to be good for that job because I can't do this one thing. You're absolutely right, Hiukwan. It just, sometimes it's just going for something. And if you're lucky enough to be at a company that offers you training, like Adyen, and there's different tracks that you can go through, then, you know, you can find your feet as you go. You know, it's fine.
It's fine. And some more things I've learned is, well, now I'm a team lead, like some questions keep coming back from people around me. Hey, Hiukwan, when do I get a promotion? Can you tell me about my salary raise? Mentorship, can you help me with a mentor? And Hiukwan, how about the promotion and salary raise? So I get these questions constant, but very little from women. Yeah. And I've come to realize, wow, it's really not weird to ask for a promotion or a salary raise. You should just do it. And I've asked some people around me, hey, why are you asking me for a promotion? What's holding you back? And they tell me, I don't know how to ask. And I say,
no, that is very true.
Just ask.
I've heard people say that as well, you know. I mean, even from my previous manager, it was a little different for me because I used to always ask. But then I also know people in my team that I've worked with that are very hesitant to do that, especially the women. Men are like all out, but especially the women, they're very, very hesitant. And then I always try to push them that it's okay, you deserve it. Look at yourself that in a much bigger light. I mean, you're doing great. I think that self-motivation is a little low in women. Yeah. And I think...
Exactly. So now I find myself going around the floor asking people to ask for a promotion.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Ladies, that is a lovely note to end it on, and perfect positive advice to end our conversation on today, because it has flown by and we're already out of time. So thank you so much to Mayke, Hiukwan, Divija. Thank you so much for joining us today to talk about leadership and making sure that we encourage those future leaders onto the right path. So thank you so much all for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you to everybody listening as always, and we hope to see you next time.